Hey guys, this is Justin.
And Ben.
At the Survivor Review. And today we're going to be talking about the Mel Brooks classic, Young Frankenstein. This is Mel Brooks' tribute to the Universal monster movies, while also being a spoof. It's a lot of things rolled into one, but it's so great.
The Mel Brooks layers.
Yes. And this is probably one of his best works. Mm-hmm. I would honestly say this might be his most polished comedy, since it's less throwing meta jokes at you and more just like doing good jokes, if that makes any sense.
They have a few. They look at the camera every once in a while.
Yeah, there's a few breaking the fourth wall.
Igor does a lot.
Yeah, a few winks and nods, but it's mostly kind of like a straight up just comedy. Mm-hmm. There's no like, hey, we're making a movie, or let's jump on the studio lots and stuff like that. So the movie follows Gene Wilder as Frederick Frankenstein, the grandson of Victor Frankenstein, the man who created the monster. Mm-hmm. And he is all very scientific, and he's like, bringing people back from the dead, that's crap, and I don't believe in any of that.
Yeah, screw my family legacy.
Yeah. But once he gets the opportunity to go back to Transylvania and look at his grandfather's work, he slowly becomes obsessed with bringing the monster back. And he does so, and kind of in typical Frankenstein fashion, the monster gets loose, and funny chaos ensues.
That's right. It's not a comedy where it's just like, we're going to try to make you laugh every single 5 seconds, because there are some scenes where you're just like...
Yeah, just watching the story.
Just watching what's happening. There's nothing funny.
And that's one thing that's great about this movie, is the way it's shot, and the way it's put together resembles an old Universal monster movie to a T.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how Mel Brooks did it. The way he recreates the shots and the camera movements, the only thing that doesn't necessarily feel like it is the kind of freeze frame zoom-ins. That's the one thing that doesn't feel like a Universal movie. Yeah. But everything else, from the camera movements to the fog and the atmosphere, this movie actually oozes atmosphere.
Yeah, it's just like static shots of people just moving and talking. There's not that much movement.
No, there's no crazy camera movement, a lot of lockdown shots. Yeah. Like, the story I always tell is how I got introduced to this movie. Is that
do tell, I do not know.
Oh, well. Yeah, as a kid, I was obsessed with Frankenstein. Frankenstein's always been my favorite Universal monster. And I just was kind of watching any Frankenstein movie I can get my hands on. And we had a taped version of Young Frankenstein.
Of course we did.
And I had no idea what that was. I saw that it said Frankenstein. So I put it on. And with the way it started, everything, I just thought this was an old movie from the 40s. And I remember being so confused, because I'm like, this looks like it's from the 30s and 40s. But Willy Wonka looks the same age as he does in Willy Wonka. And it just confused me so much until I eventually realized, I'm like, oh wait, no, this is like a modern, or not modern, but like a modern movie that was shot to look like it was in the 30s and 40s. That's how good it is. I feel like if you just crop the movie into like 4:3 and play it against footage of the original Frankenstein.
I was literally just about to say that. If you cropped it, it'd be exact.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between some of the shots. It goes together so perfectly. And then also, this movie actually pays homage to those films. Mm-hmm. It is heavily based on the first 3 Universal Frankenstein films. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Son of Frankenstein. Which is cool, because Son of Frankenstein isn't as well known.
Never seen it.
There you see? But there's bits taken directly from it. The police chief who's missing his arm. That's taken exactly from Son of Frankenstein. There's even a scene in Son of Frankenstein of him and Frankenstein's son talking.
My mind's blown. I did not know that at all.
So they take elements from those 3 films. And yeah, it's a spoof, and it makes jokes about Frankenstein and all that stuff. But it really feels like a love letter to those movies. And I think that's what makes it so great. At least for me, at least, you know.
Well, in the beginning, in the credits, doesn't it say, thank you so-and-so for old Frankenstein set or
Yeah,
whatever.
they actually used the original lab equipment
Yes,
from the original
that's what it was.
Frankenstein. The guy who owned that stuff just had it sitting in a garage, and they like
It was the 70s.
yeah, and they were able to make a deal with them and use that stuff in the
awesome.
film,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. Now, one of the things we have to get to that's obvious is the movie's super funny, and I think the cast is the best thing about it.
Yes.
You have Gene Wilder,
Yes.
who I realized from watching the movie is perfect at playing both the straight man
And yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like he could do those.
He balances it. He should do a Dr. Jekyll. Well, not now. Not like he should now. He should have done like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like he would have been a really good switch.
Yeah, he can go from these kind of like subtle comedic like beats of just like moving his eyes and reacting to something.
Yep.
I say there's the possibility of electrocution. Do you understand?
I understand. Why are you shouting?
Did you?
To being loud and over the top, and it works both ways.
Yep.
He's a genius.
It could work!
I like the first appearance of him in the movie. It's him talking, and they show the classroom, they show everything else, and then Dr. Frankenstein cut to him, and he turns. It's Frankenstein.
Yes.
I'm like, that sets up everything right there in those few words.
You also have Marty Feldman as Igor, who's also great. He's just chewing the scenery.
Yeah.
The hump.
Yeah, the hump switching back and forth.
Yes.
Love that. Which is a Mel Brooks
Oh yeah.
thing with the mole and Robin Hood Men tights.
Yeah.
I liked the whole wordplay. It's Frankenstein. Oh, do you say Frodrick? Oh, wait, no, it's Igor.
It's Igor.
Oh, I pronounced it Igor then, and I think is he technically supposed to be Igor?
I think
But he
he's
tells
Igor,
but
yeah.
he just jokes with him. It's Igor. So the rest of the movie, it's Igor.
I think so.
Well, why isn't it Frodrick Frankenstein?
It isn't. It's Frederick Frankenstein.
They told me it was Igor. Well, they were wrong then.
Okay.
Werewolf? Werewolf. Why are you talking that way? That's what you wanted to. No, I didn't.
Those moments. Walk this way, which is like it's such a weird one, but the way he walks is good.
He just does it walking down the steps. And you can't see like Gene Wilder as he walks, he kind of realizes like, wait, why am I doing it like
That's
this?
stupid,
And then just keeps walking normally.
Yeah. Frederick and Elizabeth. And like the train when they're leaving,
Yes.
and he goes to kiss her, the lipstick, and touches his hair. Oh, the hair! I'm going to a party. The dress, and then even when he's leaving, and he
I
goes,
was about to say that.
and he blows the kiss at her, she like dodges it.
Darling.
She's my favorite, especially I don't know in any movie she's really in. She's so good. I was actually looking her up yesterday when I was watching it. Because obviously she's in Clue,
Yes.
which is like my favorite role she's done. But she was nominated for a Tony. She was on Broadway and she actually sang. So I'm assuming that's her singing.
Yeah.
At the end, which is awesome.
And then we get to the monster himself,
Yes.
played by the great Peter Boyle.
Frank Barone.
Yes. And he's a lot of fun.
Yes.
You could tell he was just having a blast playing
Yeah.
this crazy role. He has great expressions.
Yes.
And reactions to things.
Yep.
When he meets the blind hermit, which is a Bride of Frankenstein callback, because that's the scene in Bride of Frankenstein, that's the hermit who teaches Frankenstein to talk. And it's just, and also wait, the hermit's played by Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Which is just wild. And he's great. Gene Hackman's really good with comedy.
Perfect with that role.
And it's just all these moments of him not knowing where things are placed, pouring soup, and like his reactions, the monster's reactions.
Even the monster's just like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense.
Long friendship.
Like all those scenes were great,
Yeah.
and then the line that ends it.
Wait! Where are you going? I was gonna make espresso.
It's perfect. Or the scene where he meets the little girl, which is taken from the original Frankenstein.
Yep.
This has a lot happier of an ending than the version of the original Frankenstein. And he sits on the thing and she flies in the air into the bedroom.
Off the seesaw.
Yeah, seesaw. I couldn't think of what it was. All those is kind of like spoofs of the original Frankenstein movies are just so well done and just really funny.
Yeah. They have so many little jokes. You just they have the big ones I can't even say her name with the horses.
I am Frau Blucher.
And
The horses.
that's great. And then, of course, Igor says it again.
Yeah.
He, laughs at the camera.
And the best is when they just mention the name casually and it's just in the background and no one acknowledges it.
Frau Blücher.
Watching it again last night, I noticed she grabs the candlestick. I swear, the candles are not lit. And she says, "Follow me," because the candles light something or whatever. And she's walking up with these candlestick. I'm like, the candles aren't even on. They're not even lit. When they first dig out the body, they're going down the road, and the cop comes.
The cop stops.
And he does the whole arm thing, and tells Igor to move everything.
Yeah.
And then when they're done, he easily just pops it back in and they walk.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the point of the entire... Well, that's the joke.
It's a great
but
gag, though.
I'm just like, all right, that was easy.
And speaking of arms, like we briefly mentioned, the police inspector, police chief, whatever.
Inspector Kemp.
Inspector Kemp's. He's hilarious.
That was my
I love how
best.
half the time they can't understand what he's saying, and he has to stop and re-enunciate everything that he says.
He has the big monologue, I think, at that when they're outside.
Yeah,
He's just talking. What?
Yeah.
He just does it real quick and just normal,
Yeah.
and they keep going.
They use him as a battering ram to get to
Yeah,
the door.
yeah. The darts, he just walks over. Yeah. And the darts, they just keep going because they fly all over, and these are the car outside.
Yeah.
The police cars, the tires are flat. I never noticed watching this until I watched last night that he has a zipper on his neck.
Who?
Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
It's a zipper. I was like, what? He has a zipper? And then even later, after he's done sleeping with Elizabeth, she says, "Where you going, zipper neck?" And I'm like, wait a second. I didn't even notice
I
it.
didn't even catch that.
Yep. I was like, this is great.
Fun little detail.
And it just I guess they instead of sewing, they just we'll put this together.
Yeah. I just say, if I have to find a flaw with the movie, I do feel like the third act is not as strong as the first two.
Yeah.
I always can never remember how the movie ends.
Oh, me either.
The only thing I can remember is Elizabeth with the Bride of Frankenstein hair in the final scene. And I think it's because all the iconic and classic jokes are in the first two acts of the movie. The stuff that everybody remembers happens so early on. There's a lot of just kind of reused jokes at the end.
A lot of callbacks to other stuff.
Yeah.
Just all right. Because I think what end of second act would probably be the dance.
Yes.
And that's, of course, iconic.
That's the best scene in the movie.
Once they leave that, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wait, the movie's not done yet?
Yeah.
I thought we're done.
When I was watching it last night, I was just like, I forgot how this movie ends. I want to see it. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he gets up and he starts talking, they do the switch.
Yeah. From a visual standpoint, I like that scene of them doing the switch because that is also a callback to kind of the later 40s monster movies like House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, because all those always had plot lines of them trying to transfer someone else's brain into the monster. It always had that same setup of two of the monster and someone else on the table. So I like that. But yeah, I do think the third act is a little lacking.
Yeah. And after he talks to them, they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And then you don't see how Gene Wilder, how he comes back.
It's a little kind of clunky.
He's just back, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I do like seeing Frankenstein in bed with glasses on.
I like that,
reading.
yes. I always remember that.
Yeah.
It's like him and
then she
the
comes
bride.
in with the hair.
Yeah, and I think that's a great visual.
Yeah.
But I feel like the third act's a little lacking.
Yeah.
But we kind of glossed over it real quick, but the putting on the Ritz scene... so good.
Love it.
And also, I just love it from a visual standpoint. It's such a memorable image of the monster in a tuxedo and everything.
Yeah. When you talk about little faces, when they part of the dance, they look over at each other and the monster winks at them.
Yeah.
And just keeps going. I'm
or
like,
the part where Jimar just a little punch in the face, and the monster gives that smile like, oh. I love that. That scene's one of the best.
And I didn't realize until yesterday too that Igor's playing the piano.
Oh, okay.
I think, because then he runs over once they knock him, Jim Wilder, out. And I don't know if it's a wig or if it's his hair, but you see him have hair on. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting little choice there.
And then the scene right after that of the monster captured in the jail, that's reminiscent of Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
That's taken from that. There's a moment in that movie where the monster gets caught, so he gets all chained up and stuff.
That scene also reminds me kind of like King Kong.
Yeah.
Where it's we're going to put on a show with this monster, and then the monster breaks free.
Very King Kong-esque, that's true. So we mentioned him briefly, but Mel Brooks. This is the first Mel Brooks review done on this channel. The last video I did was the first Clint Eastwood movie I reviewed on this channel, now it's the first Mel Brooks movie, which is nuts. He's one of my favorite comedic directors of all time.
Question, is he in this? Because usually he's in his movies.
Yes.
But this I did not see Not even like a background, a little quick. I don't think he's.
I don't think so. I don't think he's in this one at all.
There's no yogurt scene of him like as a character, like
Oh, yogurt.
yogurt.
I totally forgot for a minute there.
Did you think of actual yogurt?
I did for a second. I had a moment. I'm
I
sorry.
hate yogurt, especially strawberry. Anyway.
He got the upside. I got the downside. The two sides to each sword.
That's the next review, because that movie has lines after lines after lines. Mel Brooks is awesome.
Yes.
And amazing.
like we kind of mentioned earlier, I like the way he directed this movie like it was a genuine monster movie.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the best thing about it, is that it feels like a genuine monster movie just with gags and stuff. Yeah. And that's what makes it stand out from other kind of spoof movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like they wouldn't put this much care and effort into recreating everything and making it, like, perfect.
Yeah.
And he does that, and that makes the movie 10 times better and
Yeah.
10 times more memorable.
They probably would have dragged out scenes and dragged out jokes.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, just the easiest jokes they would have dragged out, like rolling the hay.
Yeah.
Or knockers.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or even another weird thing, too. I was like, is it this movie? It is this movie, where the poster changes... The painting.
Artwork, yeah.
Yeah,
the painting.
of Frankenstein changes and smiles. I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Like, everything else was so weird and crazy, but I felt like it was kind of the world. That one little thing, I was like...
Yeah.
That one kind of sticks out a tiny bit.
Kind of a throwaway gag.
I was like, okay. And I remember, I swear, I saw Young Frankenstein. There's a musical.
Yeah.
Me and Mom saw it at Drury Lane.
Okay.
And there's a whole song. One thing I remember about it, which is kind of weird. Maybe I was younger. I don't remember. But the only thing I remember mostly about it is there is a huge musical number of Rollin' the Hay. Like, it's like her introductory song. Yeah, it is. It's weird.
I guess it worked for the producers.
Yeah.
Did it work for Young Frankenstein?
The producers. I learned, because I was looking up Inspector Kemp, the actor.
Yes.
He's in the producers. He's the Nazi, the writer. I've never seen the Mel Brooks one. I've only seen the... All your fans are gonna hate me. I've only seen the Matthew Broderick musical one. But yeah, there's a Nazi. They were trying to put on the worst show.
Yeah.
And he's the Nazi who wrote it.
Yeah.
Who is Will Ferrell in the musical one.
Huh.
But
I've never seen the musical one. I've only seen the original Mel Brooks classic.
Yes. But I looked him up. Yeah, he's in that. They said he's in a few other Mel Brooks movies, so I gotta look at that. I love how Igor is scared of himself. He breaks in.
Start over. No.
I love how Igor is scared of himself.
Yes.
He breaks into the lab and just put his arm through, and then he sees it and gets scared.
Yes.
Then he's walking through. He finally grabs the right brain that Wilder wanted. Sees himself in the mirror, breaks it, and then grabs the other one.
The Abby Normal.
Abby Normal. Yeah, and that's before Abby Normal is the
charades.
The charades. What was it?
Sedagib.
Yeah. Give him the Sedagib. Sedagib.
He's like, Sedagib?
Yeah. Or even just a little thing even before, in between those two. Oh, please, take a seat. And he sits right down on the floor. No, up
there.
Yeah.
So good. The comedic timing of this movie is spot on. It's so perfect. Yeah. That's Young Frankenstein.
We could go on for longer and longer.
This movie is great.
Yes.
It's great as a comedy.
Yep.
It's great as like a tribute.
Yep.
It just works in all the ways it wanted to. And it does have a little issues with the third act not being as strong, but it still doesn't take away from just the sheer genius of this movie.
Yeah.
It's one of the best.
One of the best.
So that's all we have to say about that. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.